On during your day. Today we're going to be looking at this severe weather outbreak over areas into the Midwest and Great Lakes as well there for the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, and then even stretching there into the Mid-Atlantic. We're going to be going over your Storm Prediction Center forecast as well as what the NAM 3KM model is putting out in terms of precipitation as well as their CAPE values, which we'll go into later on in the video. And we actually have some pretty high CAPE values getting very far to the north, so we'll be talking about that later on in the video. Now, first, we're going to start off here with your National Weather Service. We have some flood watches in effect there for Southern California as well for those higher elevation regions. You are seeing some winter storm warnings. That's for Southern California and also for Southern Nevada. And then we also have some red flag warnings there for the central part of the country for Nebraska, Colorado, and then also into South Dakota. And then we also have some winter storm watches in effect for areas into northern Maine. We're going to be talking about that in a video later on this week, and then we're also going to be talking about this very cold air that's going to be dipping into areas into the eastern two-thirds of the United States come this week, and really it's going to be a recurring pattern. It's actually shaping up to look like pretty closely match up pretty closely with my April forecast, and I'm pretty confident in what I put out for my April forecast. You can go check that out. It's one of the more recent videos on my channel, and you can also go check out my hurricane forecast, which I put out just a couple days ago. And I already have a full hurricane forecast put together, so I can always pull that out whenever we do get a hurricane. And tell me if you guys do want to see some maps like rip current risk and stuff like that. So tell me if you guys do want to see that, and I'll definitely get to work on that. We still have a couple of months for me to develop all these graphics, so definitely tell me in the comment section down below if you do want me to put out different maps. So put out some suggestions in the comments. Now let's start talking about your severe weather risk. Now here's our Storm Prediction Center forecast, and you see we actually have a marginal risk going all the way from areas into the Mid-Atlantic through the Great Lakes and into areas into the Tennessee Valley and then through the Mid-Atlantic. We even have a slight risk in that yellow region, which is for eastern Illinois, northern Indiana, southern Michigan, and into Ohio, northern Kentucky, much of West Virginia, the southern half of Pennsylvania, all of Maryland and Delaware, and as well the northern half of Virginia there, seeing a slight risk. And we also have a little marginal risk there for southern Arkansas, central Missouri, and for central and western parts of Alabama. Now here's your tornado risk. We have a 2% chance here, and they actually updated this, I believe, from when I last looked at this just a few minutes ago. So I guess they must have updated this very recently. They used to just have a 2% risk. They just updated it, I believe, to a 5% risk there over southern Michigan, northwestern Ohio, northeastern Indiana. So if you do live in that area, make sure you are staying weather aware. And definitely stay tuned to a weather radio if you do have one, or just make sure you are near your phone, as you'll get a tornado warning if you do get if there is a funnel cloud or if there's actually a confirmed tornado on the ground. And that is for northern Ohio, northern Indiana, northeasternmost parts of Illinois and southern Michigan there, with that tornado risk, wind risk, about a 15% chance there in the yellow for pretty much the same areas that was in that slight risk there. And then we also have a hail risk, and we have a 15% chance in the yellow for, again, that same area that was in the slight risk. And then we have a significant risk in that black hatched region, and that's where they're looking at the possibility, 10% chance or greater possibility of a 2-inch diameter hail falling within one of these particular locations. So definitely a very large hail that looks to be indicated based on this forecast. So definitely make sure you are staying tuned to your weather radio, or just make sure you are close to your phone in case you do get that notification that you have a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning in place. Now, here is for tomorrow. So that was all for today. Here's for tomorrow. We have a marginal risk over a larger region over from Texas all the way northeastward into the Mid-Atlantic, and then even stretching there through the Ozarks and the Tennessee Valley. And then we have a slight risk there as you get into the central Mississippi Valley and through areas like northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, much of Tennessee and Kentucky, as well as southern parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then also the northeastern part of Arkansas, seeing a slight risk there. And then we have a 2% chance of tornadoes through much of that same region that was in a slight risk, a wind threat of about 15% chance there for northern parts of Alabama and Mississippi, as well as northeastern Arkansas, much of Tennessee and Kentucky, and southern parts of Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. As well, for that hail threat, you have a 15% chance in that yellow, and then a significant risk of, again, 2-inch diameter hail or greater possibility there, and that's over western Tennessee, northwesternmost Alabama, northwesternmost or northernmost Mississippi, northeastern Arkansas, and then through southern parts of Missouri, and then also southern parts of Illinois and Indiana there. And then here is your day 3 outlook, which would be this would be I believe for Thursday here, and you are seeing a marginal risk there for right along the east coast, and then also for southern Texas there, and then also we have a 5% chance of severe weather in those same regions that were in a marginal risk there. Now let's start looking at your NAM 3 cam model, and we actually have some thunderstorms fairly that are going to pop up fairly soon over areas into southern Michigan, northern Indiana, and then into northwestern Ohio. Now, these are individual supercells that look to form today. So that's definitely something that's going to lead to some of those tornadoes. If you do get those thunderstorms to space out, you'll get actually some tornadoes to form because they actually have more room to form. So if you do have actually more spacing in between your thunderstorms, that's actually something that indicates a lot more tornado or at least severe thunderstorm development. Now, this is going to be by around for Central Time. I'll change this to Central Time, and this would be right around about 11 in the morning. Now, as we get through 12, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and that individual supercell or that band of supercells looks to die out. You see a little bit of scattered thunderstorms, not as intense as they were through northern Indiana, Ohio, and southern Michigan, but you still do see some heavy rain and downpours. Probably nothing too severe with this, but as you get overnight, and this would be right around I believe this would be about 2 to 3 4 p.m. Now getting through 5 6 p.m. and you're starting to see more thunderstorms pop up over southern and central Michigan. You're seeing that line of thunderstorms move through areas into the northeast, and as we get through Wednesday morning, so this would be around 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you're starting to see this next line of thunderstorms move through. This would be by Wednesday morning, and now getting through Wednesday afternoon and evening. It pretty much breaks down, and that pretty much ends it there. And then you start to see your next system, which we'll have to talk about in just a little bit. Now, or in another video. Now, here is your current CAPE values that are forecasted from the NAM 3CAM model, and this is your convective available potential energy, basically showing you how much energy is in the atmosphere. Usually you want above 1,000 CAPE, which would be this lightest shade of turquoise, and you actually do see that over a very broad region, and you are actually going to see some CAPE values approaching 4 to 5,000, the 4 to 5,000 range, and then maybe even breaking 5,500 there. And you'll see that over Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, but you don't have all the ingredients to really form a thunderstorm over those regions, so you're not going to deal too much in the way of seeing some thunderstorms there. Now, as we continue this, you start to see some very, very heavy or very, very large CAPE values there through Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, Texas, and through Oklahoma as well. But where you get those thunderstorms to develop over the Midwest and Great Lakes, you're right around 1,500 to about 2,500 there. And as we continue this, you start to see it kind of breaks down as that front moves along, but you do see very, very high CAPE values there. So I am expecting a couple of rogue thunderstorms to actually develop over these regions, and I'll show you why. As you start to see those CAPE values break, that indicates that you have one really big thunderstorms developing, eating up all that energy. You start to see little holes in the CAPE values, and so that indicates a very, very rapidly rising cloud, which will lead to a thunderstorm. So that's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on, but this would be for Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday, so that's definitely later on, and we'll probably talk about that on the channel as we get closer to that event. Now, here's your total rainfall just to wrap up the video, and we are seeing where those thunderstorms develop. We are seeing about half an inch to 1 inch of rainfall, and then we're also seeing maybe a couple areas in West Virginia, Ohio, and Indiana seeing closer to 1.5 inches to maybe even 2 inches in some isolated locations. Now that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications so you don't miss the video when I do upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli. Those are guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.